I'm reading something right now actually on Facebook, some sad news I'll bring up to you. Polish Joe Chupik of AWA fame just posted that he got the news that his first boss, Mike Shields, passed away this morning.
Oh, no.
Of course, Mike gave him his first job in the AWA, but I know that you would know Mike Shields. Wanted to bring this up to you.
I saw Mike Shields. Where was it? Was in Nashville at the fairgrounds for I think it was a comic convention, but me and the Midnight were there. This was about 3 or 4 years ago. I believe me and the Midnight were there, and Jerry Jarrett came by and Bill Dundee to see Mike Shields. Mike had stopped by. Mark James was there. And now a lot of people are going, well, who the fuck is Mike Shields? Mike Shields started out in the early 70s as the guy who, in Memphis and in that territory, not only shot all the film, used the film camera before they had a video camera, shot the film of the matches in Memphis and occasionally in other arenas, but also did a lot of the still photography and a lot of the publicity pictures, the 8x10s from all of the Tennessee territory guys. This was when Nick and Jarrett were still together, so it was the whole territory. Stuff from 73, 74, 75, 76 was all shot by Mike Shields. He was a great photographer, and actually, I have a picture that, as Mike had, over the last number of years, had been going through all his old negatives and finding stuff and everything, and Mark James got this for me. Mike is the one who shot the famous Andre the Giant Jerry Lawler match in Louisville in April of 77 that made the Bill Afters magazines, and where they made up the backstory that Lawler had won the match. And Midget beats Andre the Giant, and that was the cause of consternation that year at the NWA meeting when Vince Sr. asked him, who's the little midget that beat Andre the Giant? Terry, yeah, who is that little son of a bitch? But Mike shot those pictures, and in one of them, Lawler has got a headlock on Andre, and Andre did his deal where he stood up and just stood straight up, and Lawler's feet are off the ground, and he's got the shocked face, and I am in the background shooting from the other side of the ring, and Mike shot. So he took a picture of me taking a picture of Lawler versus Andre. And Mark James got me that a print of that for a present here several years ago. But Mike, a real nice guy. And then actually what happened was they ended up getting the video equipment in Memphis right about the time that Jarrett started working with Vern Gagne in 1978. That was when Jarrett started recognizing the AWA champion. And he brought down Bockwinkel. Vern Gagne worked the first show in Memphis, and he was using Greg Gagne and Jim Brunzell, blah, blah, blah. Vern made it known that he needed a guy to do their video and shoot the arena matches and et cetera. And he hooked Vern up with Mike Shields, because at that point, Randy West, Jerry's son-in-law, had married into the family, and he's the one that started using the new video equipment they got and started doing the editing and putting together the MTV-like music video specials just a couple of years later. So Mike Shields went off to work for Vern and was there for I guess, the rest of the run of the AWA. And in trivia note, Mike Shields is one of the guys that Eric Bischoff contacted to write him a letter of recommendation to the people at Turner when he was trying to get in there and get that spot. And basically Bischoff had promised Mike Shields, and he told me this to my face, Mike did. He promised me that he'd bring me down to Atlanta and get me a high-paying job if I wrote a glowing letter saying how important he was to Vern's operation. So I did, and he didn't. But anyway, that's, I guess Mike would have been, easily in his early 70s. I hate to hear that. And I don't know what he's done with his photography. Like I said, I know he'd been going through it and, printing some things off, but he has to have somewhere, his family now has a treasure trove of negatives and old pictures and things from the Tennessee territory back in the 70s. But he was very, very instrumental. And really, he was the the main photographer right before me. As I started taking the pictures in Louisville, he was concentrating more on the video work, and then he went to work for Vern. I took over pretty much all the photography in the territory, and Randy West started doing the video.